Why do cats always seem to land on their feet? Think about it. If you've ever watched a cat slip off a couch, jump from a shelf, or even fall from a tree, chances are you've seen it twist in midair, spin like a furry acrobat, and somehow stick the landing almost perfectly. To us, it looks like magic. But behind this everyday miracle is a set of deep scientific principles. Physics, biology, and evolution working together in ways so elegant they can leave you speechless. And today we're going to crack it wide open. First, let's acknowledge the strangeness of this phenomenon. If you drop most objects, they simply fall. A book lands flat, a phone crashes corner first, a piece of toast somehow always finds the butter side. But cats, they break the pattern. They start falling in the wrong orientation, twist themselves in the air without any surface to push against, and arrive on the ground as if gravity itself had been choreographed in their favor. The question is, how? How can they rotate their bodies in free fall without violating the basic laws of physics? Here's where things get interesting. At first glance, it seems impossible. Newton's third law tells us that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If you're floating in space with no walls, no ropes, and no jetpacks, you can't just spin yourself around. So how does a cat manage to twist midair and rotate into position? The answer lies in one of the most beautiful concepts in physics, angular momentum. And the cat has figured out how to use it like a gymnast in zero gravity. Let's break it down with an analogy. Imagine a diver on a high platform. They leap, tuck in their body and spin faster. Then they extend their arms and legs to slow the spin down. That's angular momentum at work. The total rotation remains constant, but by changing body shape, the speed of rotation shifts. Cats use a similar trick, but with an extra layer of genius. They don't just tuck or extend. They bend in the middle, arch their back, and move the front half of their body in one direction, while the back half compensates in the other. This lets them cancel out the momentum in one part with the opposite momentum in the other, meaning they can twist around without breaking the conservation of angular momentum. It's like doing a magic trick with physics, twisting two halves of a puzzle piece in opposite directions until the whole body reorients. This maneuver has a name, the cat riding reflex. Kittens begin to develop it at just a few weeks old. By about 6 weeks, most of them can land on their feet consistently. It's so reliable that scientists have studied it for over a century. In the late 1800s, French scientist Étienne-Jules Marey used high-speed photography, primitive for its time, to capture cats falling and twisting midair. He showed frame by frame how they first rotated the head, then the front legs, then the back legs, until the whole body was aligned with the ground. His images looked like a physics lesson disguised as feline ballet. Now let's look step by step at what happens in a typical fall. Imagine a cat slips from a windowsill. In the first fraction of a second, it rotates its head downward, spotting where the ground will be. The front legs follow, twisting the upper body. At the same time, the cat tucks in its front legs to make that part spin faster, while stretching out the back legs to slow the rear rotation. Then it reverses the process, stretching the front, tucking the back, so the whole body lines up feet first. Finally, it arches its back, spreads its legs, and uses its tail for balance, creating a parachute effect that slows the descent slightly. Within a second or two, the cat has executed an acrobatic sequence that a human gymnast would envy. The result? Most cats, even when dropped upside down, can reorient in less than a meter of free fall. That means even short drops give them enough time to twist into position. And here's the kicker. This reflex is so fast and automatic that cats don't even have to think about it. Their nervous system is wired to trigger it instantly, much like how humans instinctively blink when something rushes toward their eyes. It's not a choice, it's an evolved survival program. But that's only part of the story. Because landing isn't just about orientation, it's also about impact. If you or I were to fall from a height and land on our feet, the result would be broken bones. Cats, on the other hand, often survive falls from remarkable heights, sometimes even from several stories up. This has been documented so many times that veterinarians call it high-rise syndrome. Cats brought in after falls often have injuries, yes, but their survival rate is surprisingly high compared to other animals. Why? The secret lies in a combination of their lightweight bodies, flexible skeletons, and shock-absorbing techniques. Cats have a unique skeletal structure with more vertebrae than humans and no collarbone connecting their shoulders to the skeleton. This makes their bodies incredibly flexible and allows their limbs to move independently like springs. When they land, they spread out their legs, bend them deeply, and let the muscles and joints absorb the impact, much like shock absorbers in a car. Their paws and soft pads cushion the landing further. And their relatively low body weight means there's less force hitting the ground compared to a heavier animal. There's another fascinating twist. Studies have shown that cats falling from very high places sometimes sustain fewer injuries than cats falling from moderate heights. This sounds backward, but here's why it happens. At around 5 stories up, a falling cat reaches terminal velocity. That's the maximum speed an object can fall through air. Once they hit this speed, cats stop accelerating and have more time to spread their bodies out, increasing drag like a parachute. With their legs fully splayed and bodies flattened, they glide slightly and distribute the impact more evenly. In contrast, falls from shorter heights don't give them enough time to reach this parachute position, so the impact is harder. Of course, cats are not indestructible. Falls can and do injure them. But their survival strategies are so effective that they've gained a reputation for having 9 lives. It's less about magic and more about the extraordinary combination of physics and biology working together in their favor. Think about the beauty of this system. A cat doesn't just fall. It calculates instantly and unconsciously how to twist, how to spread, how to absorb. It's like a self-adjusting machine built into a living creature, and the deeper you look, the more astonishing it becomes. Their righting reflex isn't just about keeping them safe. It's a window into the laws of motion, balance, and survival shaped by evolution over millions of years. Now imagine you're watching it in slow motion. A cat slips from a ledge, time stretches, the head snaps downward, the spine curves like a bow. The front twists, then the back, like 2 gears rotating in opposite directions. The legs spread wide, the tail flicks to stabilize, and the body arcs gracefully. Then, thud. 4 paws meet the ground, knees bending, force absorbed. And the cat simply walks away as if nothing happened. To us, it feels like a miracle. To the cat, it's just Tuesday. But why does this reflex matter so much? Because it shows us something profound. Survival isn't always about strength or size. Sometimes it's about flexibility, adaptation, and clever use of the rules of physics. Cats don't fight gravity, they dance with it. And that's a lesson worth remembering. In the next stretch, we'll dig into the final layer of this story. Because the physics of falling cats doesn't just explain their acrobatics. It inspired scientists, engineers, and even astronauts to rethink how bodies can move in space. And once you see that connection, you'll realize the cat's righting reflex is more than a survival trick. It's a living demonstration of how life and physics collaborate to solve problems that look impossible at first glance. Here's where the cat's secret spills beyond the living room. Because what looks like a simple pet trick has influenced physics experiments, astronaut training, and even robotics. Engineers and scientists realized that the cat's ability to reorient in free fall without any external push is not just useful for survival, it's a blueprint for controlling motion in space. Think about astronauts on a spacewalk. They're floating in microgravity, no floor, no ceiling, no stable down. If they push against nothing, they can't just rotate themselves into a better position. And yet cats show that if you cleverly redistribute mass, you can still twist in midair. In fact, NASA once studied the cat righting reflex to better understand how to design systems for astronauts to maneuver in zero gravity. They saw that the trick wasn't breaking the laws of physics, it was working with them. By shifting body parts, canceling momentum in one area while adding it in another, orientation can change without any external force. Cats are, in a sense, natural astronauts. This insight even carried over into robotics. Imagine designing a robot that needs to survive a fall, or one that has to reorient in space. A rigid, blocky machine would crash awkwardly. But a robot modeled with a cat-like body plan, flexible spine, rotating limbs, segmented control, could recover mid-air. Researchers in biomechanics use the cat's landing to inspire designs for drones, rescue robots, and even soft robots that can adaptively reorient themselves when things go wrong. The principle is the same: don't fight physics, dance with it. But let's zoom back to something closer to home. What makes cats so perfectly tuned for this trick when so many other animals can't pull it off? Part of it is scale. Cats are relatively small and light compared to their surface area. This means air resistance helps them more than it helps a heavier creature. It's also about proportions. Their long, flexible tails act as stabilizers, like a balancing pole in the hands of a tightrope walker. And their skeletal structure is almost elastic. Their bones are lighter, their muscles act like springs, and their joints are designed to bend deeply without snapping. Evolution essentially sculpted them into acrobats because survival often depended on climbing, falling, and landing. And that brings us to a larger idea. Cats don't have wings, they don't defy gravity, they don't have supernatural powers. But they've mastered the art of falling better than almost any animal on Earth. That alone is an evolutionary superpower. Because falling is inevitable if you live in trees, leap across rooftops, or stalk prey from unstable perches. Nature didn't need to make cats indestructible, it just needed to make them adaptable. Now, here's a fun twist you might not expect. Scientists once wondered if cats could cheat physics so much that they could rotate forever in midair, like a perpetual spinner. The answer is no. Angular momentum still rules. What they can do, however, is distribute movement so skillfully that from the outside it looks like a paradox. They twist, untwist, and by the time they're done, they've reset their bodies in exactly the right orientation. The equations balance, the physics holds true, and yet the outcome feels almost magical. That's the beauty of it. But perhaps the most astonishing part is how automatic it all is. Cats don't sit there doing mental calculations. They don't solve Newton's laws in real time. The righting reflex is wired into their nervous system. It's as if their body carries a built-in physics engine, running silently in the background, correcting errors, spinning, bending, absorbing shocks. When you watch a cat land, you're not just watching reflexes. You're watching the distilled wisdom of millions of years of trial and error, evolution's own research and development program. And here's where we get our eureka moment. The reason cats always land on their feet isn't just about cats. It's about how life uses the laws of physics as tools. It's about how flexibility, adaptability, and cleverness can sometimes beat brute force. When you understand the cat's righting reflex, you realize survival isn't always about resisting the world. Sometimes it's about flowing with it. A cat survives a fall not because it conquers gravity, but because it collaborates with it, turning descent into choreography, chaos into control. Think about what that means for us. We may not be able to twist like cats, but we face our own kinds of falls, unexpected challenges, sudden changes, moments when the ground rushes up faster than we'd like. The cat's lesson is simple. Don't panic, don't freeze, adjust, bend, redistribute. Use the forces around you instead of fighting them. That's not just physics, that's wisdom. And the next time you watch a cat leap from a counter, tumble off a couch, or land gracefully after a climb, you'll know the hidden story. You'll see the physics unfolding in slow motion, the conservation of angular momentum, the flexible skeleton, the shock absorbers built into paws and joints. You'll realize that what looks like instinctive elegance is really a living demonstration of motion itself. It's a moment where biology and physics shake hands and say, let's make this work. So when people say cats have 9 lives, maybe it's not just superstition. Maybe it's our way of acknowledging that these creatures have evolved a set of skills so effective, so seemingly impossible, that they feel supernatural. But now you know the truth. The real secret isn't magic, it's science. And that to me makes it even more incredible. If this journey into feline physics amazed you, imagine what other everyday mysteries are hiding right in front of your eyes. From the way your body interprets sound, to why the sky changes color, to how your phone even connects across the planet. Each one is a puzzle with its own breathtaking solution. And here at How It Actually Works, we're unlocking those puzzles one by one. So if you love discovering the secret of why cats land on their feet, make sure to like this video, share it with a friend who loves science or cats, and subscribe to the channel. Because together, we'll keep finding the keys that open the hidden doors of the universe. And with each key, your curiosity grows sharper, your wonder deeper, and the world around you more alive than ever.